Have you ever wondered how a small group of rainy islands on the edge of Europe once controlled nearly a quarter of the entire world? An empire so vast that people used to say, the sun never sets on it. From the streets of London to the jungles of India, from the deserts of Africa to the distant lands of Australia, the British flag once ruled across continents. But how did this happen? How did a small kingdom become the largest empire in human history? And perhaps the most fascinating question of all, if the British Empire was so powerful, why did it disappear? Long before the United Kingdom became one of the most powerful empires the world had ever seen, it was just a collection of islands on the edge of Europe. Windy shores, green hills, scattered tribes, and constant battles defined life in ancient Britain. But history has a strange way of transforming small places into centers of global power. This is the story of how a group of islands became the heart of the largest empire in human history, and how that empire eventually changed forever. The early days, tribes and invaders. Thousands of years ago, the British Isles were home to Celtic tribes. These tribes lived in small communities, farming the land and building mysterious monuments like Stonehenge. They were warriors, proud of their traditions and fiercely protective of their territories. Then, in the year 43 AD, everything changed. The mighty Roman Empire invaded Britain. Roman legions marched across the island, building roads, cities, forts, and walls. London, then called Londinium, began to grow as an important trading center. For nearly 400 years, Britain became part of the Roman world. But empires rise and fall. By the early 5th century, Rome was collapsing, and Roman soldiers withdrew from Britain. The island was suddenly vulnerable. Soon, new invaders arrived, the Anglo-Saxons. These Germanic tribes settled across the land and formed several kingdoms. Over centuries, these kingdoms fought each other constantly, until slowly a new identity began to form: the Kingdom of England. The Norman Conquest, a new beginning. In 1066, one of the most important events in British history took place. William, Duke of Normandy, crossed the English Channel with an army and defeated King Harold at the famous Battle of Hastings. William became known as William the Conqueror. The Norman conquest transformed England. The French language influenced the nobility, castles appeared across the countryside, and a powerful centralized monarchy began to develop. England was no longer just a land of small, competing kingdoms. It was becoming a unified and organized state. The birth of a kingdom. Over the centuries, England expanded its influence. In 1534, King Henry VIII broke away from the authority of the Catholic Church in Rome and created the Church of England. This decision changed religion and politics across the country forever. Later, England united with Scotland in 1707 to form a new nation, Great Britain. What started as separate kingdoms had now become a stronger, united power. But the real transformation was just beginning: the rise of the British Empire. During the 17th and 18th centuries, Britain began exploring the world. Ships sailed across oceans searching for trade routes, new lands, and opportunities. British merchants, sailors, and explorers reached the Americas, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Colonies were established across the globe. India became one of the most valuable territories under British influence. In North America, British settlers built thriving colonies. In the Caribbean, sugar plantations created enormous wealth. The Royal Navy protected trade routes and controlled the seas. Slowly, Britain began to build something the world had never seen before: an empire that stretched across continents. The Industrial Revolution, power through innovation. In the late 18th century, something extraordinary happened in Britain. The Industrial Revolution began. Factories replaced hand production. Steam engines powered machines. Railways connected cities. Coal mines and steel factories fueled rapid economic growth. Britain became the workshop of the world. Cities like Manchester, Birmingham, and Liverpool grew rapidly as industry expanded. New technologies transformed transportation, communication, and manufacturing. This industrial power gave Britain enormous global influence. Its ships, factories, banks, and armies helped expand the British Empire even further. The empire where the sun never set. By the 19th century, the British Empire had become the largest empire in history. It ruled territories on every continent: Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, large parts of Africa, and many islands around the world were under British control. At its peak, the British Empire governed nearly a quarter of the world's population. People often said, "The sun never sets on the British Empire." No matter the time of day, somewhere in the world a British flag was flying under the sunlight. British culture, language, laws, and institutions spread across the globe. English slowly became one of the most influential languages in the world. But empires always face challenges. Wars that changed the world. The 20th century brought two devastating global conflicts: World War I and World War II. Britain played a major role in both wars. During World War I, millions of soldiers fought across Europe, and the war caused enormous destruction. Then, in 1939, World War II began. Britain stood almost alone against Nazi Germany during the early years of the war. The Battle of Britain saw intense air battles in the skies above the country. Cities were bombed, but the nation refused to surrender. Eventually, with the help of allies including the United States and the Soviet Union, the Axis powers were defeated. But victory came at a cost. The war weakened Britain economically and politically. The age of empires was ending. The end of the empire. After World War II, many colonies began demanding independence. India gained independence in 1947. Soon, countries across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean followed. The British Empire slowly transformed into something different. The Commonwealth of Nations, a voluntary association of independent countries that maintained cultural and diplomatic ties. Britain was no longer a global empire controlling vast territories. Instead, it became a modern democratic nation focusing on diplomacy, trade, and global cooperation. The United Kingdom today. Today, the United Kingdom consists of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. London remains one of the world's most important financial and cultural capitals. The UK continues to influence global politics, science, culture, and technology. Its universities attract students from around the world. Its music, films, literature, and innovations shape modern culture. Although the empire is gone, its historical impact is still visible everywhere, from languages and legal systems to international institutions. A legacy that shaped the world. The story of the United Kingdom is a story of transformation, from ancient tribes to Roman province, from medieval kingdom to global empire, from imperial power to modern nation. Few countries in history have shaped the world as deeply as Britain did. And even today, the legacy of that island empire continues to influence the world we live in. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories begin in the smallest places. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. See you next time.